The Scooty Fund started, it was inspired by when my brother Will died by suicide. He was a senior in college, had no real history of what someone would describe as mental health issues. His death was really hard for me to deal with and eventually to accept. And as a part of that, I went through a lot of sadness and grief, and at certain points anger. And as a part of that anger, I started thinking about what could be changed or what I could affect in culture so that something like that wouldn't happen again. So I started just speaking with my friend Allie Rudman, and Allie and I bounced ideas back and forth. I spoke with a few other friends, and eventually we came up with the concept for the Scooty Fund. And throughout this process, I was also speaking with a friend of mine, Tara Nielsen, who was very passionate about the project and about the ideas that we were coming up with, and has had amazing ideas as well and a lot to contribute. So it kind of began with the three of us just coming together, saying what can we change as a result of this really tragic, difficult event. And so shortly after, after we had established the idea for the actual Scooty Fund, we needed some legal guidance. We needed to incorporate, we needed to figure out our tax, our ways of doing taxes, finances, all of that. So my mom, who is a lawyer, offered her services. So we brought her on board to handle our paperwork. She's now a retired lawyer, but she knows all the ins and outs. So she's, jumped on board, and we brought on Stacy Bjarnason as our treasurer. So that was kind of where it all began, and we incorporated, we figured out our strategies for progressing our missions and moved from there. So we began with, let me explain our two general missions. One is to raise capital for mental health research and hands-on crisis management resources. And the second is to change the culture around mental health, to fight the stigma and create a more dialectical, holistic approach instead of being so black and white or linear. So with each of those two missions, as of today, we've raised $30,500 for research and resources, and that's in a little over 2 months. And as far as the cultural awareness and change goes, we've been trying to reach as many people as we can, and I think Tara is our Chief Marketing Officer, and she's done an amazing job through our social media channels. We've actually very recently had a few people coming to us saying that they would like to put together marathon teams for the cause, really try and build this idea of mental health not as something to be stigmatized or to be judged, but just as something that everyone struggles, everyone goes through stuff. And I guess that's the message we're trying to get across. within this second mission, and we've had a lot of people responding to that idea generally. I think the biggest thing that we're trying to achieve is a cultural shift so that people feel comfortable expressing where they are, and if they're going through something really difficult, or if they're just going through something, feeling comfortable connecting with other people or feeling like they're not alone, so that it doesn't reach, I guess, the point where someone feels hopeless or isolated in addition to feeling negative emotions, and trying to help people understand that negative emotions are a part of life, and struggle is a part of life, and it's okay. And one of our kind of phrases throughout this whole process is that it's okay to not be okay. And I think that's what we're really trying to help people understand and create a culture that fosters that idea.